Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what we are reading briefly. We're also going to talk about some books we're super excited about that are coming out or are already out. And then Chris is going to talk about a Kobo sitch. There's a pile of Kobos on the table. She's going to tell you why.
About my Kobos.
So what should we start with? How about a book we're excited about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to go?
Sure. This is called House of Monstrous Women by Daphne Fama. And Chris attended an event where Daphne was speaking with her editor about this novel. That was a while ago, and now it's around the corner. It's coming out on August 12th. Great cover. And it's a debut, and it's a gothic horror novel. I mean, the cover kind of gives that away, doesn't it? Yeah. And it takes place in 1986 Philippines, and it has something to do with playing a game. And it sounds incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something in the family home.
Yeah, and the home is super creepy. Mm-hmm. So a good fit for our year of reading ghost stories and horror-y things.
Horror-y things.
And thank you to Berkeley for sending us this advanced reader copy. And again, it pubs on August 12th, which actually isn't that far away.
It is not, frighteningly enough.
Yes.
This is a book that's not coming out until November, actually, 2025. Her One Regret. This is Donna Faritas. And it is about a woman who regrets having a child. It says, from the author of the book club favorite, The 9 Lives of Rose Napoliato. How do you say that? Napoliato?
Napolitano,
oh my gosh.
Like okay. Anne Napolitano.
Maybe I need to go to get new glasses here. A riveting feminist thriller that tackles an unspeakable taboo, regretting motherhood.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, especially once you have the baby. That cover is great. This is one I'm really looking forward to digging into.
Yeah, so I guess she leaves her baby behind in a grocery store parking lot. She kind of thinks about planning her own kidnapping to get out of it. This one comes out, November. There's not a specific date yet. It's from Soho Press. And I tend to really enjoy their thrillers. And I've been reading some books about motherhood and pregnancy and stuff. So this one caught my eye. And I've actually only known one woman who has ever told me that as much as she loved her children, if she had to do it all over again, she would not have children. So definitely a taboo subject.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And very feminist. Yeah. I'm excited about Until Allison. This is by Kate Rousseau, who is the daughter of Richard Rousseau. And this is it's a mystery thriller, so a little bit different, not horror, that takes place in the middle school years, I believe, and has to do with bullying. Mm. And it's one of those kind of campus-y type of thrillers. And she's known for her book Superhost, which was also very popular. This is blurbed by all sorts of people on the back cover. I know she lives in Maine, but it takes place in Maine. She and Richard Rousseau are both Maine people. And on the back, Ivy Pacoda said, a powerful and wrenching mystery that claws through the polite facade of the traditional campus novel, empowering, heartbreaking, and thrilling in equal measure. Mm. It's blurbed by a lot of high power folks, and this is out now. It just came out. Am I telling the truth? What is the date? It's July. I thought maybe it was later. I think it is out now. Yeah. I think it came out in early July. And it's July 9th now.
Okay.
I believe so.
On sale July 15th.
Oh, no. Next week. Sorry, everybody.
Yep.
Next Tuesday, I believe.
Time.
Yeah.
It is an
elusive
thing.
Surely it's already July 15th. No, we're recording this on July 9th. But yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I've never had the opportunity to read her. I do love her father's writing.
Nice. Well, this next one by Brian Buckby with Carol Ann Fitzgerald, We Should All Be Birds. It's a memoir. Isn't that a cool cover? I love the cover.
Love that cover. Tin House is the publisher, and they have great covers.
I love Pigeons, too. And this one comes out August 5th. And it is about a man who has an illness. Well, it's a memoir. Brian has an illness, and he has a recovery pigeon who helps him as he helps the pigeon, because the pigeon had an injury too, and apparently the pigeon kind of recovers, and he doesn't really. So I was intrigued by this. And there's a little note. Sometimes this is an advanced reader copy, and there's sometimes a little note from the author in here. Sometimes it's from the editor or one of the publishers, and it says, "Hi, reader. A pigeon saved my life. I know you may be thinking, a pigeon? Give me a break. They're a nuisance. Give me something I can work with here. A polar bear cub, or a three-legged dog, or a six-armed octopus. Something." But it was a pigeon.
Yes.
That helped him. So I'm looking forward to this. Again, it is a memoir.
Yeah, that one caught my eye too. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
It reminds me of the movie that I watched where a guy goes out and a penguin saves him. But it's a different premise than this one. But birds saving people.
Yeah.
But you were saying it's out. I kept
August
interrupting
5th.
you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's okay.
August 5th.
I
Yeah.
think I said August 5th earlier, but...
And I think I forgot to say this one's out from Putnam. Thank you to Putnam for this advanced reader copy. Am I making you dizzy yet? This is another one I'm super excited about. This one is out now. It's called Sunny Side Up by Katie Storino. Katie, this is a debut novel, but she's well known for starting the company Mega Babe. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Yes, which is a beauty brand offering non-toxic, solution-oriented products that allow people to feel more comfortable and confident in their own skin. She's a fat-positive person. So, for example, one of the products that's offered on Mega Babe is a balm you can put between your thighs if you're wearing a skirt and you're getting that thigh rash that you can get if you don't have,
So painful.
skinny, tiny thighs. And she has really great deodorants and things like that. Ironically, I was just looking at the Mega Babe website, and I didn't know that these two were correlated until I opened up and read about this author. But this is a fun novel about a fat woman who is tackling the big city. And it's, what did it say? I read this to you earlier. Something about it's, a modern day Bridget Jones without the toxic self-loathing. Mm-hmm. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, totally. Because I really love the Bridget Jones movies, but then when you rewatch them, it is kind of like, ooh, that doesn't really age all that well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of loathing of the body. And this has positive body images and a big city situation, which I always love to read a book that takes me to the big city.
Totally. It is so painful to get advanced reader copies. It's painful to go to the library sometimes to see all of the books on display. Like, they could be books that are 85 years old and they're on display, and it's just like, oh, I still want to read them.
I know. We were just at an event at the New Haven Public Library, and both of us we were just standing in the, the new fiction section, lusting over all of them. And I looked at one big display, and we had each read one book.
Yeah.
Which Chris was like, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
But
not bad.
There were 20 others we hadn't, so.
I know. So sharing some of these books that we got is kind of a way to, assuage some of that.
Yeah.
So,
and then we're going to go home and read, so don't feel sorry for us.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
And I think anybody who's watching this video to this point feels the same way about books.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, and growing your TBR as well.
Right. Yeah. So this next one is called Overdue.
I love this cover.
Isn't that a great cover?
So much.
I love that. Yeah. So this is Stephanie Perkins, and it comes out October, and this is from Saturday Books. So it is about a librarian who has been dating the same guy for like 11 years, I think it is. Let me just read the blurb. How about that? Ingrid Dahl, D-A-H-L, a cheerful 29-year-old librarian in a cozy mountain town of Ridgetop, North Carolina, has been happily dating her college boyfriend, Corey, for 11 years without ever discussing marriage. But when Ingrid's sister announces her engagement to a woman she's only been dating for 2 years, Ingrid and Corey feel pressured to consider their future.
Which is always a recipe for disaster.
It is. It goes on. Neither has ever been with anybody else. Also,
a recipe for disaster.
Right?
Yeah.
So they make an unconventional decision. They'll take a 1-month break to date other people. Then they'll reunite and move towards marriage. Ingrid even has someone in mind. Danger. Her charmingly grumpy coworker, Macon Nowakowski, on whom she's secretly crushed for years. But plans go awry, and when the month ends, Ingrid and Corey realize they're not ready to resume their relationship, and Ingrid's harmless crush on Macon has turned into something much more complicated.
Workplace romance.
Yeah. So, romance, it says it's a beautiful, slow burn romance full of lust and longing about new beginnings and finding your way. And does this qualify as a big book? It does. It goes 407 pages, and I'm going to dip into it.
Yeah.
It is just, I have so many books I want to read, but I'll dip in and we'll see how far I get.
Yeah. Okay, now I've got to unearth. You might hear a pile of books crashing.
She just had a bit of an avalanche here.
And my book that I'm currently reading is on the bottom. This is a book called Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. It's out September 2nd from Random House. Thank you for the advanced reader copy. This is a big book, so if you're participating in Sue's Big Book Summer Challenge, this comes in at 452 pages.
Nice.
It is an epic novel with lots of characters starting from the 1920s, and I'm not sure how far it goes, World War II to the late 20th century. I'm about halfway, and it's a page-turner for me. I love the characters. The main character is Cal Jenkins, and when we meet him in 1920, when he's born, he is born with one leg that is 2 inches shorter than the other, and what that impacts him directly during this time period is he is not eligible to go to war, which is a big thing for men during that generation because the towns were often filled with a lot of women and very few men of a certain generation. But he sticks around in Bonhomie, Ohio, which is not a real town, but there are a lot of real Ohio towns mentioned. I am born and raised in Ohio and a transplant to New England, so it's warming my heart to spend a little time in Ohio with Cal and what becomes his wife and another female, and I should say another partnership that develops as well. That's where I am, 450 pages in. I was saying to Chris, because we just recorded an episode of the podcast today, as I was reading it, I was kind of like, how do authors do this? Like, why do you care about these characters that you never knew existed until you opened up the first page of a novel? But sure enough, Patrick Ryan has done that, and I'm very much enjoying it. I highly recommend that you tell your library about this, pre-order it, and dig in when it comes out in September.
Nice.
Wonderful, epic novel.
Now, why is it called the Buckeye State?
It's called the Buckeye State because of, I think, it does, no, wait a second. There was a title reveal in here.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back and read it. Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
Now, I mean, it's called the Buckeye State, I think, because of chestnut trees that drop nuts that look like Buckeyes.
Oh, okay.
And then, when you love food like I do, you make Buckeyes, which are like essentially the inside of a Reese's peanut butter cup. So peanut butter and confectioner's sugar, and you roll it into a ball and dip it in chocolate to make it look like a Buckeye.
Wow.
And then you plop them in your mouth, and it's delicious.
Interesting.
I don't think that's why it's called Buckeye. It might be. I mean, it is the Buckeye State.
Yeah.
But there was a reveal with that word in here, and I love when titles are revealed, but I can't remember if I marked it. I will report back on that.
All right, excellent. Good deal. Well, I am reading a book. Here, let me pull this up. On
her Kobo.
So I got a new Kobo not too long ago. The first e-reader I ever got, well, here, let me show you. This is the new Kobo that I'm reading. That's Margaret Fuller, The Collected Writings. And this one has a neat little pen, a little stylus, so you could mark in the margins and stuff, underline things. You can also create little notebooks in this. So I've kind of used that a little bit for like my immediate TBR. So like the next 3 to 5 books I might be reading or something. I'm enjoying it. It is a bit of a square,
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know, but then the screen is very much more the rectangle. And just like a Kindle, it's very easy to change the font and all that good stuff, the size, the style of the font, the warmth of the screen, the brightness of the screen. And I'm enjoying it very much. And so I thought I would show you my very first Kobo. This was one that I purchased at Borders. So Borders, back in the day, that's a bookstore chain that no longer exists, partnered with Kobo to sell their e-readers. They were a Japanese company at the time. No, they started as a Canadian company, I think, and now they're Japanese. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I should know that. But I bought this one. It's the Kobo Original Model N416, and I purchased it in May 2010. And I really enjoyed this, but the thing is, if you can hear this, like that's the button click. So when I was in bed reading, Laura would be like, oh my God, I'm trying to sleep, and all I'm hearing is clack, clack. So then I upgraded to another Kobo. This one, Emily was able to see the number. It's like N905,
Yeah.
did you say?
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed this one for the longest time too, but then I dropped it. And it can no longer be charged. But Kobo, similar to like Kindle, you have an account that's web-based, so you can always, whenever you get a new Kobo, you can download your books, so you don't like lose them necessarily. So that was a bummer.
Yeah.
And after this, that's when I decided to try Kindle. And I do have a Kindle. I love my Kindle too. I have different books on different things. I tend to now only buy books on Kobo, and the Kindle I use for advanced reader copies because there's an email that you can create to have ARCs and books from Project Gutenberg just emailed to you directly, and it pops up on your Kindle. So that was a little bit of memory lane.
And your new Kobo, is it a touch screen or do you use those
It's
buttons?
both.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has these buttons, and I'm pressing it.
Okay.
You can't hear a thing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, or you can swipe.
Because my Kindle's just swipe.
Yes.
Like there's no buttons.
That's how mine is too. Yeah. My Kindle looks very much like this without this button in the middle there.
That's how mine is. And the most important thing to me for my Kindle is that it's waterproof.
Yeah.
Because I am wont to drop my things in the bathtub and didn't want to lose a Kindle. So, and I don't have any of my old Kindles. I think this is my third one because they have a program where you can send it back and get a, like a percentage off of your next one or something.
Right,
So that's what I've done with all my Kindles. And I go back and forth with using it and not using it very often. I got the arc of this, so at night I have been reading this on my Kindle. But for the most part, unless they're ARCs, I really am not doing much e-reading these days.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of e-reading, and I even like Margaret Fuller. I was mainly reading in the book, the physical book. But the other night, I had finished the book I was reading, and at bedtime is when I mainly do my e-reader reading. I was like, all I want to read is Margaret Fuller. And I was like, well, just, treat yourself to the digital version and read Margaret Fuller in bed, So I have both. And the good thing about e-readers is you can really search text, too, quite easily.
I do like that.
That's a handy thing. And the Margaret Fuller collection is 900 pages. So to have this nice little light unit that I can just carry around in my bag is a little bit easier.
Chris just solved my problem. I can search the word Buckeye on my e-reader.
Oh, look at that.
Look, it's so good to have bookish friends that are so
Totally.
smart. Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, and I do getting in bed at night and not having to have a light or mostly when I wake up in the middle of the night also, it's very friendly for your partner if you don't have to turn on a light and you can just read with your e-reader.
Totally.
So I do use it. It's on my nightstand, and that is typically where I spend time with my e-reader.
Yeah. E-readers. I mean, this is not a commercial for Kobo or Kindle or anything.
Yeah.
We're just talking about how we read. And I know some people will just never read on a an e-reader. They just will always read books, and that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other time that I love an e-reader is when I'm going on a trip.
Yeah.
Because I still overpack books, but at least I know I have 200 books on my e-reader, and I won't ever have to worry about being on an airplane and running out of reading material, which is like my idea of a nightmare.
Exactly. And we were both just recently on planes and had some really good bookish encounters with people. Like on one of the flights I was on, I sat next to a pilot who was being flown to her next flight, because she was saying, we talked a little bit, and I said, I promise I won't talk to you the whole trip, because she was trying to read on her e-reader, right? And I hate when people talk to me when I'm trying to read on a plane. And she laughed. She's like, no, ask me anything. And I think she said, like, they do 5 flights and then they fly. Like, they can only do so many flights or how many hours or whatever. And so, you know, she reads a lot on those flights, and she read on her Kindle the whole time, which was really cool. And didn't bother me at all, unlike a different person on another flight who was just like talking up a storm about the book she was reading.
Right. She had the book in her hand.
I know.
But I think she was a nervous flyer. When you told me the story, I think it was that she had to talk because she was nervous.
Yeah, she kept showing me pictures. It was a history of a biography, I think. And so she kept showing me pictures. I was like, oh, great. And she'd be like, after a little while, how's your book? I'm like, it's good.
I don't know. I can't read because you're talking to me. Well, I've sat on a flight with a younger person who was reading on his phone the whole time. And I, you know, sometimes I think, oh, wow, someone's just playing a game, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I actually could see the chapters, and he was reading. And of course, I was trying to figure out what he was reading and never could figure it out. And then on another flight, I had a gentleman who was holding 2 paperback books, and he was reading one and writing it in a lot, which I thought was really interesting to see. And then when the flight was over, when we had landed and he closed the books and was holding them a certain way, I could see that one of them was written by the author Amy Hempel. And I said, oh, how do you like the Hempel? I really like her writing. And he said, I really like her. And I was reading I can never pronounce his name, Chuck Palahniuk or something. I'll put it in the notes down below. And he said he kept mentioning Amy Hempel, so I had to go get an Amy Hempel book. And it's like, we readers know, right? That's how it happens. You're reading a novel or you're reading a biography or something, and then it, you know, you find out about another book that you read. So, but I was really glad that I didn't ask him that question until we landed, because I was afraid we would have ended up talking about books instead of reading the whole flight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like I saw more people on this trip. Well, it was one trip. I drove one trip and then flew another. And I felt like at the airport and even on the planes, I felt like I saw more people reading.
I did too.
You know? Than like even a year ago is what it felt like.
Yeah. And on our first flight out, we saw someone reading a big, heavy library book. And I'm always just like, you go when I see someone like that. I love it. You know, the idea that you're going to risk taking a library book and also carry a heavy hardback.
Right.
That's dedication.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, enough about our stacks of books. Here, we'll hold them back up for you. Tell us what you're reading.
Yes.
We always love to know.
Yeah, and if you are an e-reader person or not.
Yeah, and which e-reader you have. We would love to know. We're nosy that way. And so do other people. You know, put it in the comments.
Totally. All right, everybody. We wish you lots of happy reading.